Choosing growth over comfort is one of the most courageous decisions you can make in your life. It means rejecting the easy way out and walking toward the unfamiliar, the uncertain, and the uncomfortable, not because you enjoy pain, but because you know growth lives there. It means daring to stretch, even when every fiber in your body craves ease and predictability. Growth demands that you be a little uncomfortable, a little uncertain, and sometimes a little afraid, but that's where transformation begins. Growth isn't always dramatic, sometimes it's quiet. It happens in the background when you choose to keep going despite not seeing instant results. It happens when you sit in the discomfort of failure and still decide to try again. It happens when you stop playing it safe, even when you're terrified of falling. Because the truth is, staying in your comfort zone might feel good temporarily, but in the long run, it will keep you small. And you were not born to live a small, safe life. You were born to evolve, to stretch, to expand beyond the limitations you or the world have placed on you. Let me be honest, comfort can be seductive. It gives you certainty, it gives you control, it gives you familiarity, but growth strips away what's easy. It introduces you to new challenges, new perspectives, and new parts of yourself you didn't even know existed. And sometimes it feels like you're walking in the dark, but eventually your eyes adjust. Eventually, you see how much stronger you've become because you dared to step into something uncertain. Growth teaches you resilience. Comfort only teaches you how to avoid it. There is a false belief that if something is hard, it must mean it's not meant for you. That's a lie. Often, the things that challenge you the most are the things that shape you the deepest. When you choose growth, you choose the path that forces you to confront your fears, to face your insecurities, and to shatter the limits of what you thought you could handle. It's not glamorous, it's not always Instagram-worthy, but it is powerful. Every time I chose growth over comfort in my own journey, I was met with resistance. Not just from the world, but from myself. My mind wanted to protect me. It wanted to keep me from taking risks. It whispered things like, what if you fail? What if you're not ready? What if you're not enough? And you know what? I listened for a while, until I realized those questions would never go away unless I proved them wrong. Unless I stopped waiting for the fear to disappear and moved forward anyway. Growth requires you to leave behind versions of yourself that were built only for survival. It requires you to let go of identities, habits, and thought patterns that kept you safe but no longer serve your future. And that's not easy. Shedding the old you can feel like loss, but it's actually liberation. You're not losing yourself. You're meeting a new you, a stronger, more capable, more aligned version of yourself who was always waiting beneath the surface. Choosing growth means failing publicly, getting back up and trying again. It means applying for that role even when you're underqualified, speaking up even when your voice shakes, ending relationships that no longer support your purpose. Starting that project no one believes in yet. Growth doesn't guarantee immediate rewards, but it does guarantee depth, purpose, and self-respect, and that's worth more than temporary applause. The world will often celebrate what's visible. Titles, accolades, appearances. But the real work, the real growth, happens in the dark. It happens when you're choosing to stay disciplined even when no one's watching, when you're practicing patience instead of chasing shortcuts, when you're choosing discomfort in the short term so you can gain wisdom, strength, and resilience in the long term. Every step outside your comfort zone adds a new layer to your character. You begin to trust yourself more. You start to realize that even if things don't go as planned, you can figure it out. You develop grit. You become emotionally agile. You become mentally strong. You become someone who doesn't break easily, because you've already done hard things and survived. It's not that the people who grow have fewer fears, it's that they decide their purpose is bigger than their fear. They understand that comfort won't lead them to the life they want, so they trade short-term ease for long-term fulfillment. They trade being liked for being real. They trade certainty for impact. So if you're standing at a crossroads today between what's easy and what's right, choose growth. Not because it's glamorous, not because it's trendy, but because it's transformative. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you send a message to yourself. I believe in something bigger. I believe in myself. And that belief, that's the beginning of everything. Choose the hard conversation. Take the leap, sign up, speak up, show up, do it afraid, do it messy, but do it. Because the version of you you've been dreaming about is on the other side of your comfort zone, and she's waiting for you to step up. We are all experts at self-criticism. That quiet voice inside our heads often doesn't speak with kindness. It speaks with judgment, doubt, and sometimes even cruelty. It notices every flaw, replays every mistake, and questions every decision. But let me ask you something. Would you speak to someone you love the way you speak to yourself? Would you tell your best friend she's not good enough? Would you mock her for failing, shame her for her past, or doubt her every step forward? Of course not. So why do we think it's okay to do it to ourselves? Talking to yourself like someone you love is not a cliché affirmation practice. It's a radical act of self-respect. It's about changing the internal narrative that's been running your life on autopilot. It's about recognizing that the way you speak to yourself becomes the way you see yourself, and the way you see yourself becomes the way you show up in the world. If your inner voice is filled with shame, blame, and fear, how can you possibly move through life with courage, confidence, or clarity? We grow up absorbing so many voices: parents, teachers, society, media. Some of them lift us up, but many of them plant seeds of insecurity. Over time, those external voices become our internal dialogue. That little voice saying you're not enough, you're too much, you'll never make it. That wasn't yours to begin with. You inherited it. But here's the good news. You can change it. You can decide to rewrite the script. Loving self-talk doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect or never holding yourself accountable. It means being compassionate even when you mess up. It means looking at your flaws and not using them as weapons against yourself, but as opportunities to grow. It means recognizing that you are human, brilliant, flawed, resilient, and worthy, all at once. Think about the person you love the most. What do you do when they're struggling? You remind them of their strength. You tell them it's okay to fall, that failure doesn't define them, that they're still worthy of love and belonging. Now imagine saying those exact words to yourself. It's okay, you tried, you're learning, you're still enough. That kind of inner dialogue doesn't weaken you. It makes you stronger. It builds a foundation of self-trust and emotional safety that no one else can give you. When your inner voice becomes kind, your mindset begins to shift. You stop viewing every mistake as a disaster. You stop avoiding challenges out of fear. You stop waiting for outside validation because you've already given yourself what matters most: acceptance. And from that place of acceptance, you can stretch, take risks, and grow. This is especially important in moments of failure or vulnerability. That's when your inner voice matters most, because life will knock you down. It's inevitable. The question is, what will your self-talk sound like when it does? Will you kick yourself while you're down, or will you be your own source of encouragement? Will you say, "See, you failed again"? Or will you say, "This is hard, but I've been through hard things before, and I'll rise again"? Talking to yourself like someone you love is also about creating emotional resilience when the world criticizes you, and it will. You won't crumble because your worth isn't hanging on someone else's approval. You've already given yourself the love, reassurance, and belief that others are still searching for. That's power, that's peace. This shift in self-talk can change how you handle every part of your life, your relationships, your work, your dreams. You stop settling for things that drain you because you know you deserve better. You stop comparing your journey to others because you're too busy honoring your own. You stop shrinking yourself to fit someone else's idea of who you should be because you've fallen in love with who you actually are. Here's the truth: no one hears your voice more than you do. No one has more influence over your spirit than the words you repeat to yourself every single day. So choose those words carefully. Let them be rooted in truth, but let that truth be wrapped in grace. Tell yourself you're proud. Tell yourself you're strong. Tell yourself it's okay to rest. Tell yourself you're still growing. Tell yourself that even on your worst days, you are still worthy of love, of forgiveness, of a second chance. Speak to yourself like someone who matters, because you do. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being kind, being gentle, being intentional. You can still push yourself. You can still set high standards. But you can do it without self-abuse. You can be both driven and kind, ambitious and soft, powerful and gentle with yourself. So the next time that old, harsh voice tries to take over, pause, take a breath, and choose a better one. Choose the voice that says, I've got you, you're doing your best, and we're not giving up now. That's the voice of someone who loves you. Let it be yours. In a world that's constantly screaming at you, telling you who to be, how to look, what to chase, and what to fear, it takes immense strength to reject the noise and embrace your truth. The noise is everywhere. It lives in social media, in cultural expectations, in family pressure, in comparison, in doubt, in the need to prove, to perform, to please. It's loud, it's persuasive, it demands your attention. And if you're not careful, it will drown out your own voice until you can't even recognize who you are underneath it all. Rejecting the noise doesn't mean becoming deaf to the world. It means becoming loyal to yourself. It means having the courage to silence the expectations that were never yours to carry. It means choosing your authenticity over approval, your peace over performance, your purpose over popularity. It means being willing to stand alone if it means standing in your truth. But let's be honest, that's not easy. From the time we're young, we're taught to fit in, to follow the script, to meet the standard, speak like this, dress like that, want these things, achieve those goals. And if you dare to be different, if your truth doesn't match the narrative, you're labeled difficult, dramatic, or delusional. So many people end up dimming their light, muting their opinions, and abandoning their dreams just to belong. But what's the point of belonging if you have to betray yourself to do it? The most liberating moment in your life is when you realize you don't need to be liked by everyone. You just need to be aligned with yourself. When you stop trying to meet every expectation and start listening to your inner truth, you take your power back. That inner truth, your intuition, your gut, your core knowing. It has always known who you are and what you're here to do. But to hear it, you have to quiet the noise, and that requires radical honesty. You have to ask yourself, whose life am I living? Whose version of success am I chasing? Whose approval am I working for? And most importantly, what do I want? Not what I've been told to want, not what looks good on paper, but what truly sets my soul on fire. The answers won't always come immediately. Sometimes they come after sitting in stillness. Sometimes they come after heartbreak or disappointment. Sometimes they come in moments of deep reflection when you realize you've been living on autopilot for far too long. But when that truth does rise to the surface, honor it. Trust it, let it guide you, because when you embrace your truth, you move differently. You walk into rooms with clarity, not comparison. You speak with conviction, not fear. You make decisions not based on what's popular, but on what aligns. You stop shrinking. You stop apologizing. You stop explaining who you are to people committed to misunderstanding you. You realize that the people who matter won't need you to perform. They'll respect you for being real. And yes, choosing truth over noise will cost you something. It might cost you relationships, opportunities, or even comfort, but it will give you something greater, yourself. It will give you peace of mind, clarity of purpose, and the kind of self-respect that can't be bought. You'll begin to live a life that feels like yours, not one built on comparison or competition, but on authenticity. And the irony is, when you start living in your truth, you become magnetic. People are drawn to the real. The world is full of copies, and your originality becomes a kind of quiet rebellion, a breath of fresh air, an invitation for others to show up as themselves, too. Rejecting the noise also means setting boundaries with what you consume, online, in conversations, in your environment. Not every voice deserves access to your mind. Not every opinion needs your response. Protect your mental space like it's sacred, because it is. The more you consume the noise, the harder it becomes to hear yourself. Curate what feeds you. Feed your truth, not your fear. You are not here to live a life built on external validation. You are here to live deeply, truthfully, and boldly, and that begins the moment you stop chasing who you're supposed to be and start showing up as who you already are. Let the world be noisy. Let it have its trends, its opinions, its chaos. You stay grounded in your truth. You keep listening to that quiet, steady voice inside you that says, "This is who I am. This is what I believe. This is the life I choose." And if the world doesn't get it, that's okay. You're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to understand yourself. That's the freedom you've been searching for all along, and it doesn't live in the noise. It lives in your truth. Your energy is your most valuable currency. It fuels your thoughts, your actions, your decisions, your relationship. It's everything. And yet, so many of us give it away recklessly. We hand it over to situations we can't control, to people who don't deserve it, to overthinking, to doubt, to drama. We act like we have an endless supply, but energy is limited. It's sacred, and when you don't take ownership of it, you start living in a state of depletion. Physically, emotionally, mentally, even spiritually. Taking ownership of your energy means becoming radically aware of where it's going, who it's going to, and what it's being used for. It means asking yourself difficult questions like, why am I exhausted all the time? What am I saying yes to that's draining me? What patterns in my life are costing me peace? Because the truth is, if you don't consciously manage your energy, someone else will manage it for you. And it won't be in your favor. You have to realize that not everything deserves your reaction. Not every battle is yours to fight. Not every invitation needs to be accepted. Protecting your energy is not about becoming cold or indifferent. It's about being intentional. It's about recognizing that peace is a form of power, that boundaries are acts of self-respect, that silence can be stronger than argument, and that walking away doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise enough to protect your light. We often associate strength with how much we can take, how much we can handle, but true strength is in discernment. It's knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet, when to engage and when to retreat, when to pour into others and when to pour into yourself. You cannot give from an empty cup. You cannot inspire, lead, love, or build when you're constantly running on empty. Taking ownership of your energy also means being selective about the people you allow into your life. Energy is contagious. Surround yourself with people who add to your peace, not subtract from it. People who challenge you, not criticize you. People who see your light and don't feel the need to dim it. You don't need a crowd. You need alignment, quality over quantity, real over loud. Sometimes the biggest energy leaks aren't people. They're our own thoughts, the way we overthink, overanalyze, replay conversations, predict outcomes that haven't even happened, the way we dwell in the past or obsess over the future. All of this robs us of the present moment, and the present is where your energy actually lives. If your mind is constantly somewhere else, your energy is too. You have to reclaim it through mindfulness, through intentional pauses, through grounding rituals that bring you back to yourself. Your energy is also deeply connected to your physical and emotional health. If you're not sleeping well, if you're eating junk, if you're not moving your body, your energy suffers. You may be spiritually strong, mentally focused, and emotionally intelligent, but if your physical health is drained, it all collapses. Self-care isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Sleep like it matters, nourish yourself like you're valuable, move like your body deserves vitality. When you take care of your vessel, you protect your energy. There's also the aspect of emotional ownership. Don't give your power away by letting others control how you feel. When someone says something hurtful or dismissive, you have a choice: absorb it or reject it, internalize it or release it. Your emotions are valid, but they're also your responsibility. And when you let someone else dictate your emotional state, You hand them control they don't deserve. Take it back. Learn how to regulate your inner world, no matter how chaotic the outer world becomes. Owning your energy means owning your mornings, your environment, your mindset. It means asking yourself every day, what do I need to feel full today? What drains me and what fuels me? And most importantly, what can I let go of that is no longer serving me? Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for your energy is to simply let go of guilt, of old stories, of people pleasing, of trying to be everything to everyone. The more intentional you become with your energy, the more magnetic you become. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop forcing and start flowing, because people feel energy, they feel presence. They feel peace, and when you operate from a place of fullness, you show up differently, you speak differently, you think differently, you lead differently. Taking ownership of your energy is one of the most powerful transformations you can gift yourself. It requires boundaries, it requires discipline, it requires self-awareness, but the reward, a life where you're no longer surviving, but truly thriving. So protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. Don't waste it proving your worth. Don't waste it on petty conflicts. Don't waste it living a life that doesn't feel like yours. Reclaim it, refuel it, and then use it to build something beautiful, something aligned. Something that reflects who you really are, not just to the world, but to yourself. We live in a world obsessed with perfection. Perfect bodies, perfect careers, perfect relationships, perfect timelines. Social media filters our lives into highlight reels, making it seem like everyone else has it all figured out while we're stumbling through the mess of becoming. But here's the truth: perfection is an illusion. It's a moving target that keeps shifting just as you think you've reached it, and chasing it will only leave you exhausted, disappointed, and disconnected from your own journey. That's why it's so important to stop glorifying perfection and start celebrating progress. Progress is real, it's measurable, it's personal. It's the quiet victory of doing better today than you did yesterday. It's the small steps, the unseen effort, the internal battles you win every day just by showing up. Progress is not glamorous, but it's powerful. It's not always obvious, but it's always meaningful. When you start celebrating progress, everything shifts. You stop waiting for some future version of yourself to be proud of. You start recognizing your growth right now in this moment as it's happening. You stop beating yourself up for how far you still have to go and instead acknowledge how far you've already come. That simple shift changes your relationship with yourself. It builds confidence. It builds resilience. It builds momentum. Progress means understanding that growth isn't linear. You will have good days and hard days. Moments when you feel unstoppable, and moments when you question everything. That's not failure, that's life. Real growth looks like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and sometimes standing still while you catch your breath. And that's okay, because even on the days when you're not moving, you're learning, you're becoming, you're still in the game. Perfection, on the other hand, is a trap. It whispers that you're never enough, that your work isn't good enough, that your body, your voice, your efforts, they all fall short. It convinces you to keep polishing, fixing, editing, waiting. It makes you second guess your ideas. It makes you delay your dreams. It silences your creativity because it's so afraid of making a mistake. But the truth is, mistakes are part of progress. They teach you, they strengthen you, they shape your character. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You just need to be consistent. When you begin to value progress, you also learn the art of self-compassion. You stop measuring your worth by how much you produce or how perfectly you perform. You begin to ask deeper questions. Did I grow today? Did I stretch myself? Did I honor my process, even if the result wasn't flawless? Those questions guide you to a healthier mindset, one that builds you up instead of tearing you down. Progress celebrates effort, not just outcome. It honors the days you didn't give up, even when it would have been easier. The days you made the call, sent the email, went to the gym, had the hard conversation, chose to heal. It recognizes that change doesn't happen overnight. It happens through tiny, intentional actions repeated again and again, even when no one's watching. When you celebrate progress, you also free yourself from comparison. You stop looking sideways at what everyone else is doing and start focusing on your own lane. You realize that your journey doesn't have to look like anyone else's to be valid. You stop rushing. You stop resenting. You start appreciating the timing of your life, even if it's different than you expected. Progress teaches you to stay rooted in your own path. It also makes space for joy. When you're obsessed with perfection, joy gets postponed. You tell yourself you'll be happy when you reach the goal, when you lose the weight, when the numbers hit. But when you value progress, you find reasons to celebrate along the way. You find joy in trying, in growing, in learning, and that joy feeds your energy, your creativity, and your ability to keep going. You don't need to earn rest, celebration, or love by being perfect. You're worthy of all of it right now, exactly as you are in the middle of your process. Celebrate your growth out loud. Be proud of your healing, your hustle, your boundaries, your courage. It doesn't matter if it's messy. It matters that you're moving, because the person who celebrates progress is the person who keeps going, and the person who keeps going is the one who ultimately gets there, not because they never fell, but because they refused to stay down. So let go of perfection, let go of the pressure to have it all figured out, instead fall in love with the process of becoming. Celebrate the steps you take, no matter how small they seem. Clap for yourself when no one else does. Remind yourself that showing up again and again is already a victory. You're not behind, you're not broken, you're not failing, you're evolving, and that is always worth celebrating. Ambition is a beautiful thing. It's the fire that fuels you, the vision that pulls you forward, the drive that keeps you moving even when the world tells you to slow down, to play small, to shrink. But somewhere along the way, ambition became a word we whisper instead of own. Especially for women, ambition often comes with labels: too loud, too much, too intense, too aggressive, as if wanting more for yourself is something to be ashamed of, as if dreaming big is a problem that needs fixing. But here's the truth, asterisk asterisk, there is nothing wrong with being unapologetically ambitious, asterisk asterisk. In fact, it's one of the most powerful things you can be. Ambition is not arrogance. It's not entitlement. It's not about stepping on others to get ahead. It's about refusing to settle. It's about recognizing that you were made for something more and having the courage to go after it, even if no one claps for you, even if no one understands. It's about choosing purpose over popularity, vision over validation, growth over comfort. Being unapologetically ambitious means making peace with the fact that you will be misunderstood, that people will question your drive, that some will be uncomfortable with your confidence, your clarity, your hunger. But let them be uncomfortable. You weren't born to fit into their limited narrative. You were born to break the mold, to create your own story, to rise. It also means setting bold goals and not being afraid to say them out loud. Too often, we downplay our dreams to make other people comfortable. We dilute our vision so we don't seem too full of ourselves. But what if, instead of hiding your ambition, you honored it? What if you treated your goals like they mattered? Because they do. When you are unapologetically ambitious, you show others that it's okay to want more. You give permission to everyone watching you, your friends, your family, your team, the next generation, to reach higher. Your ambition doesn't just serve you, it inspires, it empowers, it makes space for others to rise too, but don't mistake ambition for ease. Chasing big dreams will stretch you. It will test your patience, your resilience, your belief in yourself. You will hear more no's than yeses. You will fail, you will doubt. You will have moments when you want to quit, but that's where your ambition comes in. It pulls you through, it reminds you why you started. It refuses to let you settle for mediocrity when you know you were built for greatness. Being unapologetically ambitious also means protecting your energy. Not everyone will understand your path. Not everyone will support your grind. That's okay. Ambition requires boundaries. It requires saying no to distractions, to drama, to anything that doesn't serve your future. It means walking away from relationships, environments, and habits that keep you stuck. Your vision is not up for negotiation. You don't owe anyone an explanation for wanting more for yourself. You also don't need to wait for perfect timing. You don't need all the answers, all the resources, or all the approval. You just need to start. Start messy, start scared, start wherever you are. The road will reveal itself as you walk it. Don't wait for permission to begin. Give yourself the green light, and here's something powerful. Ambition doesn't have to be loud to be real. You don't have to shout it from the rooftops. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone. Sometimes the most unapologetically ambitious people are the ones working quietly in the background, showing up consistently, building something meaningful day by day. Their ambition isn't in their volume, it's in their discipline, in their focus, in their refusal to give up. There will be moments when your ambition feels heavy, when self-doubt creeps in, when the road feels longer than you imagined. In those moments, remember this, ***, you're not chasing someone else's dream, you're building your own. ***, and that makes every sacrifice, every setback, every sleepless night worth it. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to be relentless, be the woman who tries again, be the man who keeps showing up, be the person who believes in what they're building, even when no one else does. Let your ambition be your anchor. Let it remind you of your purpose on the hard days. Let it fuel your voice, your decisions, your momentum. Don't tone it down. Don't apologize for it. Own it. Stand tall in it. And if people say you're too much, smile and say, that's exactly right. Because the world doesn't need more people playing small. It needs more people brave enough to be bold, brave enough to dream, brave enough to act. So be unapologetically ambitious, not someday, not when it's safe, but now, because your ambition is not the problem. It's the spark. Let it burn bright, let it lead, let it make noise, and let it build a life that looks exactly like the one you used to dream about.